Hey folks, I know it has been a while and a lot of crazy things have happened since. I also know people are running out of things to watch and do. So, I've decided to make an updated video on the top 10 PCVR games so far in 2020. It will give you something to watch and maybe give you an idea which VR games you should try next. There have been a lot of great games that have come out recently, so the list needs to be updated. Not only that, I also know people are getting lonely stuck at home. So, I will be giving away a copy of raw data, so you can have some virtual, social interaction and kill some epic robots as a team and join a social club. If you would like to enter the giveaway, please subscribe to the channel, like this video and comment down below that you would like to enter the giveaway. I will have a few more games I will be giving away in later videos. Watch until the end of the video for more information on the giveaway. Well, let's get straight into it. Number 10. Hotdogs, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades VR. Originally, H3 VR came out in 2016. However, since then it has gone through constant updates and has received a lot more new guns and new features. First, let's talk a little bit about the guns. It has almost every gun you can think of, from World War I, World War II to the current era, which includes pistol, SMGs, LMGs, rocket launchers and much more. There are so many guns that I've actually lost count. Not only that, each gun has the most realistic look, feel and sound I have ever seen. It's probably as close as we can possibly get right now. Each gun has a realistic and accurate loading mechanic. Now, I'm personally not a big gun buff, so some of the loading mechanics confuse me, but for someone who enjoys them, it will be fantastic. There is also a take and hold game mode which has been added to the game. Now, before this game mode was added, I probably wouldn't have included it in my top 10, mainly because the game would be great for gun enthusiasts but could get boring for everyone else, since you could only use your weapons at a gun range. However, with this game mode, it makes it so much more exciting. There are various modes within the take and hold mode, but essentially you have walking and talking hot dogs that you need to take down. They have recently even added a parody to Half-Life 2, including the crowbar and the gravity gun. There are also zombie hot dogs that you need to shoot in the head, otherwise the head bread will continue to come at you, similar to the head crabs. Overall, this game is a must-have if you enjoy guns, shooting or fun in general. There are constant updates coming out, so there is always something new to experience. Number 9. Defector. Become the next James Bond in VR. Defector's story is based around hunting down defecting agents in a spy action thriller. Defector puts his finger in every VR pie, so if you want to experience what VR can do, then play Defector, as it will have you rock climbing, fist fighting, shooting down enemies and jumping towards a moving plane in mid-air. There are also events where you need to outwit the characters in conversation, which was a lot more fun than you think, as you need to manipulate them into doing what you want. Because there are choices you can make that affect the story somewhat, it adds some replayability to the game. Although, the decisions don't have as much of an impact as I would have liked, but it's always a nice feature to have. The story lasts around 3 to 4 hours, but it does have branching story endings, though it's still on the shorter side. Nevertheless, the game is still fun and does give the feeling of taking part in an epic Mission Impossible or Bond movie. Number 8. Pavlov. Pavlov is a casual, fast-paced multiplayer VR shooter with the largest player count in VR. You have many different game modes and many custom maps, which are awesome. You have maps from previous Call of Duty games like Rust, Terminal. You also have Halo maps. You even have Minecraft maps. And there are too many other ones to name. There are also multiple game modes such as Zombies, TTT, Team Deathmatch, Gun Game and many others. There are various different weapons and they all have different handling and reloading. Although I find the different reloading a little annoying since you have to try and figure out which one it is in the midst of battle. There are some negatives with the game. First, I don't find the graphics that appealing, especially the death animations, but they're okay for what they are. The sound is something I am very disappointed with. The guns don't sound great and neither does anything else really. Also at times some of the game modes and map combinations can seem a little bit chaotic, plus there are a few game modes that people focus on which are mainly TTT, Zombies and Gun Game. This is a little disappointing since the game has so much more to offer. The gameplay itself though is a lot of fun and enjoyable. There are a lot of rowdy people playing. This isn't trying to be a realistic simulator but an arcade style run and gun. Overall, this is a fun game to have and the one with the most amount of players, which aren't going down anytime soon. Number 7. No Man's Sky VR. Even though No Man's Sky had a terrible start, the people at Hello Games have given their heart, soul and body to this game, coming out with constant updates, and one of these updates was the implementation of VR. From someone who didn't really care for No Man's Sky before the implementation of VR, I was extremely excited to jump into a spaceship and fly it for myself in virtual reality. And it did not disappoint. I was amazed when I was able to leave the planet for the first time and could see how big and beautiful it really was. Since then, there have been a lot of updates, including mech suits, which makes you feel like a Transformer or someone from Pacific Rim. The fact that you can switch between VR and flat screen anytime you want is awesome. One thing I want to mention is that the game itself isn't really an action game. So even though you have mech suits, can ride animals, fly spaceships, can have space battles, it's mainly focused on exploration and resource collecting. The other things you can do in the game are build bases, ride animals, go on mission with friends, play with non-VR players and even travel to different galaxies. If you love grinding for items and building up your money to be able to purchase the best spaceships and best items for your base, then you will love No Man's Sky. Number 6. Blade and Sorcery. If you haven't tried Blade and Sorcery yet, then you are seriously missing out. This is a game that should be in everyone's library. Firstly, let's get this out of the way. There is no story mode or multiplayer in Blade and Sorcery. The whole game is a sandbox. However, don't let this put you off. There are realistic physics in the game, so when you stab an enemy, you can actually feel the blade piercing through their body. There are also magical abilities such as telekinesis as well as lightning. There are a lot of different weapons to play around with. But this isn't even the best part of the game. The actual best part of the game are the mods. These are absolutely fantastic. My absolute favorite mod is the Star Wars mod. With this, you feel like a badass Jedi or a Sith Lord. You will have lightsabers which look unbelievably realistic, as well as the sound of lightsabers is spot on. You can use abilities like the Force Choke, Force Lightning, do crazy skills with the lightsabers. This is just one of the mods. There are so many mods that you can find on Nexus Mods. Some of my other favorite ones are the Thor's Hammer Mjolnir and Stormbreaker, which are so much fun to use. So I highly recommend Blade and Sorcery. Now, we are at the top 5 greatest games. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video to let me know that you enjoy these type of videos. Number 5. Boneworks. The fun just got real. Boneworks has been developed by the great team at Stress Level 0. The game has an intriguing story, but unfortunately I don't believe it really pays off with the ending. But the story isn't the reason you will be getting Boneworks, as the game's main selling point is not the story but the physics, as they are like nothing ever seen before. The physics system in the game is revolutionary and ahead of its time. I honestly don't know how they have even done this. Everything you see has realistic physics, including your body. Honestly, anything you can think of doing in real life you can do in the game. There are some technical issues here and there, but the developers are continuously working on improving them. However, this game is marketed to the experienced VR players, as some people have experienced motion sickness due to some of the movement. There is around a 7-hour story, which is a strange and intriguing one, and the levels are mainly puzzle based with sprinkles of combat. However, the most fun you will have is in the sandbox mode, as well as the other action-packed modes that have been added. This is where you'll be able to murder to your heart's content, or just abuse the unsuspecting enemies. You can use all the weapons in the game, ranging from guns, swords and even awesome balloon guns that allow you to make anything float, even yourself. However, you do need to unlock this throughout the story. You can spawn hordes of enemies and take them down like a boss with the slow time feature. Arena mode is another feature for those who want more action, where a set amount of enemies keep spawning in waves. This adds another exciting element to the game. The amount of fun you can have in Boneworks is only limited by your imagination. Number 4. Stormland. Stormland is developed by Insomniac Games, who are the same developers for Marvel's Spider-Man, so expectations were very high to say the least. For the most part, these expectations have been met. It is an open world first-person shooter that has been built from the ground up for VR. You can climb over any obstacle with your own 2 hands, fly across the clouds like Superman. You may look a little silly doing it for the people around you, but will feel awesome when you're in virtual reality. If you're unsatisfied, you can be Batman, with the grappling hook feature, whizzing you up like a metal knight. The movement in the game is absolutely fantastic and feels amazing. When running around, dodging fire and moving in general, this is how VR games should do movement. The story is basic, where you are an android searching for his friends during a ferocious robot revolution. However, it's not the story that will keep you coming back, but rather the game mechanics and how fun they can be. You can even bring a friend to play co-op with you, but that's after you have completed the first hour or so just remember that. There is also progression of characters, as you can also upgrade your abilities to climb faster, jump higher and much more. The only downside I see is the shooting does get a little repetitive. But that's mainly because the enemies aren't that difficult to beat. The game lasts around 5 to 6 hours, but once you have finished the game you can still carry on playing. Similar to like how you would do with Diablo or Borderlands, to try and get better weapons etc. However, to try and overcome some of the repetitiveness of the game, Insomniac Games have added another feature, where every 7 days the map will change its layout to mix things up a little. I think this is a great feature to add, and I wish other games did this too, so you don't just fall in the routine where you're just going through the motions. Visually the game is absolutely stunning, there's no doubt about it. The enemy robots look awesome. When you climb to the top of the high point and look at the horizon, you will feel like you're really there. I suggest having a fan on to give you an even more authentic feel. Overall, the look and feel of this game makes it a must-have for any VR owner. So, we are at the bronze, silver and gold level. If you haven't subscribed yet, then what are you waiting for? Number 3. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I never watched The Walking Dead. I know I am in the minority in this, but that doesn't take away from this game. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is such a fantastic game with a few flaws. Let's talk about the flaws first, and how I overcame them. The biggest flaw I found was the stamina in the game, where it was so low that I felt like a small obese kid with asthma. I understand trying to build tension, but this was going a bit too far. So I thought,
ain't nobody got time for that.
And decided to cheat a little. I used a trainer to give myself more stamina so I don't walk around like a slug in the limited time I have to play. I'm telling you, this changed my gameplay experience substantially. It was like playing a different game completely. I made sure not to add anything else to keep the intensity, but it made the game so much more fun. It was unreal. I wish they had the limited stamina as an option to turn off, but this is a great workaround. If any of you played the game and the stamina frustrated you, then definitely try doing this. Okay, the great things about the game is the choice element in the story and side missions. I always love this feature and it is implemented very well here. Although at times I have to be careful not to go too crazy, since you are definitely nowhere near overpowered in this game. So can get killed by the humans quite easily. Speaking of killing, the zombies are so much fun to kill. When the knife gets stuck in their head, it's just epic and gruesome. I don't want to spoil too much of the game, but it is one I highly recommend, especially if you can get more stamina. Number 2. Asgard's Wrath. If you wanted a AAA game in VR, then this is your dream come true. The first thing you will notice about Asgard's Wrath is that it looks absolutely gorgeous. Everything from the enemies to the environment. Have you ever wanted to see the Rainbow Bridge in person? Well, now you can. However, the game is much more than just beautiful. This is an action-adventure RPG where you will be working with Loki as he takes you under his wing. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but there is around a 25 hours main story that is really enjoyable and keeps you engaged throughout. This was one of the first made from ground up VR games I've seen with such a long and good story. Not only that, there is so much side content giving you another potentially 20 hours more of content. The only thing I will say is that it does start off a little slow, so you will need to give it a chance. If you do, then you will really reap the rewards of your patience. There are 10 different animal companions that you can take control of that you will come across. They all have varied combat styles and different abilities that you will need to use to be able to solve puzzles. In reality, this game in its core is a slasher game, but a fantastic one at that. The combat is designed on the basis of parrying enemy attacks and countering. However, it gets a little bit more complicated than that, with special attacks, rage meters, runic armor, making sure that the combat doesn't get stale during the long story, since you will also have new abilities that you can unlock and new attacks. There is a large puzzle element in the game which is sometimes quite challenging, especially where you will need to pick and choose the correct followers to use at the right time, and then switch to another one to solve the puzzle. There is a large crafting element for all those people that love an RPG element in the game, kind of like Zelda. Overall, for me, this game is still one of the pinnacles of VR gaming, but has just been beaten by our next game who takes the number 1 spot. Number 1. Half-Life Alyx. Okay, I'm sure you already knew this was going to take the number 1 spot. This is a full-fledged game made for VR from the ground up. Half-Life Alyx is one of the most anticipated games on the VR platform. People have actually bought headsets just so they could play it. This is considering the last Half-Life game came out 13 years ago. However, this time we are taking on a new protagonist, but it's still in the Half-Life universe. The story in this game is unbelievable, so I'm not going to tell you anything about it, other than it's really good, and lasts around 10 hours. The graphics on the game are also incredible, even on the lower end systems, which shows when a big company like Valve decides to create a AAA VR game, how it can actually turn out. There are numerous great things implemented in the game, in particular the gravity gloves. I wish other games had this as well, it just makes things so much easier to pick up. The only flaw I saw was the lack of melee combat. I believe Valve initially wanted to implement this, but they couldn't get it to work as they wanted, so they decided to just leave it out. Which is a little disappointing, but it's better not to implement it at all rather than implementing a broken mechanic. Another point is, when it comes to replayability, there isn't anything additional to bring you back. But it's so much fun to play, you'll probably replay it anyway, because this game truly is the best VR game out right now. So there's my list of the top 10 PCVR games so far. Do you agree with the list? Let me know in the comments below. I will be announcing the winner of the giveaway in 2 weeks to give people enough chance to enter. So remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know in the comments that you want to enter the giveaway. Well, that's all folks. Thanks for watching, have a great day, stay safe, and see you next time.